Welcome to the One Life Church devotional series where we cover the entire Bible in 20 months. This week we are doing one New Testament chapter and one Old Testament chapter every day. So today is Acts chapter 8, Genesis 22. Now if you're joining us for the first time, no problem. We will give you the Bible reading record and you just start exactly where we are now. And for the next 20 months, you read 2 chapters a day, you'll cover the entire Bible. So chapter 22 of Genesis is one of those terrifying chapters. It's where Abraham is told, take that son of yours, the one Isaac, the one I made all these promises over, take him up on a mountain and sacrifice him to me. Now that sounds barbaric. And, as a father, you wonder what must have been going through his mind. I'm standing here in my son's bedroom. My son is away in Johannesburg for the year, but this is his room. You can see his old school blazer hanging up behind me. And so there's the memory of my son in this place. And I think about losing him forever, I wonder what was going through Abraham's mind. Well, we certainly know what was going through the son's mind, because he had said to the boy, let's go and sacrifice up on the hill. And the boy says to him, the fire and the wood are here. Verse 6, but where is the lamb and the burnt offering? And Abraham answered, God himself will provide the lamb and the burnt offering. But God sort of tests Abraham to the very limit. And he's standing there holding this knife above his son when suddenly there's a lamb in the thicket. And Abraham looks at the ram and he says, well, God's provided exactly like I said he would. And obviously that ram, which was took the place of his son on the altar, is a picture of Jesus, and we understand that. But still, it doesn't comfort one when one looks at God pushing Abraham to that very limit. The writer of Hebrews commends Abraham for his faith in believing God, his faith in having a son. And then on this particular incident, he says, in Hebrews chapter 11, verse 19, Abraham reasoned that God could even raise the dead. And so, in a manner of speaking, he did receive Isaac back from the dead. And so, the writer of the Hebrews saying, his understanding of why Abraham went along with this is that he knew the nature of God. He knew that God was loving, God was kind. And that, he said to his son, God's going to provide a ram in your place. But even with his knife held up in the sky, he reasoned that God is so good that I don't understand God, but God will bring this boy back to life for me. And so you say, well, this is very dramatic. Well, the New Testament chapter that we're reading today has got, a similar ring to it. There's in Acts chapter 8, a fellow by the name of Simon the sorcerer, who gets radically saved, and he discovers the gift of the Holy Spirit. Now, Abraham had been given the gift of his son, the promise of his son with huge promises. And Simon the sorcerer looks and he sees the church getting this gift, this incredible gift. And somehow the wonder of his own encounter with God and his salvation moves into the background. He says, look, I want to buy this thing. I want this thing. This thing's more important than anything. And the apostle turns to him and he says, you have no part or share in this ministry because your heart is not right before God. What was he saying to him? He's saying, well, the gift has become more important than the giver. You see, what happens when God's blessing, whether it's your son, whether it's your money, whether it's your ministry gift, when your blessing that God has given you displaces God in your heart, then your blessing has become like a noose to you. It's become like a curse to you. And so what we see in both these chapters is God sifting men's hearts, saying, I'm going to give you good gifts because I'm a good father. But those gifts aren't meant to be your God. Those gifts aren't meant to go to the preeminent place in your life. Those gifts, whether it's your son, whether it's your ministry, whether it's your money, needs to find its place in your life as something God has given you. And God needs to stay in pole position.